Today we are going to be dealing on the topic surd. And there was a particular question in class where we had something like this, I think based in logarithm, and we're wondering how we could analyze this particular question. And a lot of persons didn't really know what to do. So I told them we can just open the square root to become 70 over 7. And this is root 10 because 7 here 1, 7 here 10. So we now have root 10. And I said anything that has to do with square root, any number has to do with square root is 10 raised to power what? Half. So this was how we analyzed the particular question that day. So I now said, how about we release a video on surd? How about I show you how to analyze surd? What surd is all about? Now, today we are going to be dealing on the topic surd. Now, some of you will be wondering, what is surd all about? What does it deal with in mathematics? Now, surd has to do with irrational numbers. You see, there are some numbers that when you are dividing, they don't really give you good values. For example, you are talking about square root of 2 now. We're talking about square root of 3. We're talking about square root of 5. You see, some numbers like square root of 25, for example, has value of 5, right? Square root of 49 has a value of 7, right? But in a situation where you have square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 5, square root of 7, do they really give you values, simple values? No. So we are going to analyze how we can actually handle questions that has to do with surd. And that's what surd is all about. Handling questions that has to do with irrational or non-rational numbers that are not really like 25, 49, 36, questions like that. So we start. Now, under surd, there are certain things you need to know. The first part has to do with the addition rule. With addition aspect, in the addition aspect, you have root A plus root B. Some of you will be wondering, will I just write square root A plus B? No. Root A plus root B. You don't write root A plus B. No. It is still going to give you root A plus root B. And if you have root A minus root B, it is still going to give you root A minus root B. So we are going to start officially now and analyze certain things. So we have the addition rule, root A plus root B is equal to root A plus root B. Root A minus root B is equal to root A minus root B. The next aspect has to do with multiplication. Now, this is where the work starts. In a situation where you have root A times root B, based on the reason why here is square, it will give us root AB. Root A times root B is root AB. Root A divided by root B is equal to root A over B. Take note of this point. Root A times root B is root AB. The root A divided by root B will give us root A divided by B. Now, we have some questions which we are going to solve together. We have some of the questions. The first one, we have simplify root 2 times root 6. Root 2 times root 6. Now, using the knowledge of surd, I said we can multiply the numbers inside the square root. So we have root 2 times 6, which is root 12. Now, after getting root 12, you will ask yourself a question. How do we analyze root 12? Will root 12 be our final answer? No. So we are going to simplify this. 4 times 3 is 12, right? So we have root 12 gives us root 4 times 3, which is 2 root 3. Because this 4 here, it will give us square root of 4 times square root of 3. That's what I just did. And what's the square root of 4? 2. So you bring the 2 out to give you 2 root 3. So whenever you have a question like this, root 2 times root 6, you open the square root to give you 2 root 2 times 6. Now, when you now have 2 times 6, gives you root 12. Now, when you have root 12 will now give you 4 times 3. What's 4 times 3? 12. Now, what's the square root of 4? 2. You bring 2 out. So it now becomes 2 root 3. 2 root 3. Then we have another question. Simplify root 80 root 80 plus root 20 minus root 45. Now this question is very simple. Now we are going to break this down. What you have to take note of is whenever you are breaking numbers down, try to find numbers that have square roots to break it down into. So now you ask yourself a question. See, 80, how can we break 80 down? We can break 80 down into 16 times 5. 16 times 5. Then for 20, we can break 20 down to 4 times 5. Now, we can break 45 down to 9 times 5. You see the reasons why I had to bring numbers that have square roots so that it can be easy to analyze. Now, in this place, we have root 16 times 5. What's the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4. Now, what's in the square? What's in the root? 5. So we have 4 root 5 plus. Now, in this place, we have square root of 4 is what? 2. So we have 2 root 5. Then in minus, we have 3. What's the square root of 9? 3. 3 root 5. Now, take note. There is a difference between this and there's a difference. You see the way I wrote the root? The 4 root 5. The 4 is outside the square root. But if the 4 is inside the square root, inside the root, it is 4th root. But if the 4 is outside the square root, it is like you are multiplying by the root. So there's a difference between this. This is cube root and this is 3 root. Now, so another thing to take note of is whenever you are adding salt, ensure that the numbers inside are the same. If the numbers inside are the same, you can add the numbers outside. If the numbers inside are different, you have to make sure the numbers are similar. If the numbers are not similar, you just add it the way I explained before, where I said root A plus root B is equal to root A plus root B. But in a situation where the numbers are similar, like you can see 5 here, you can see 5 here, you can see 5 here. Now you ask yourself this question. 4 plus 2 is 6. Now we have the root, which is similar, 5. Minus 3 root 5. Now you ask yourself a question again. 6 minus 3 is what? 3. So it's also going to give us 3 root 5. And that's going to be our final answer. So when the numbers inside the roots are the same, you can add. But when the numbers are not the same, you try to see if you can make them the same. But if they cannot be the same, you leave it like that. And you do it the way we said. Root A plus root B will give you what? Root A plus root B. Root A minus root B is equal to root A minus root B. So we have that. That's one of the first things to take note of. We are going to continue now. So, moving on. We have another question to solve together, which says root 35 divided by root 5. Now, this question is very simple. All we just need to do, like I said before, is open the root and write 35 over 5. What was 5 here 1? 5 here 7, which is root 7. And this is our final answer. So root 35 divided by 5. Just know that when the roots, they are square roots, you can easily divide. But when the roots are not square roots, one is cube root and one is square root, you will now find another way, which is maybe possibly the laws of indices, to analyze questions like this. Then we have another question in this format. Let's try this question out. We have root 17 over root 4. In this question, we are going to have it in this format, which is root 17. What's the square root of 4? 2. We have root 17 over 2. Root 17 over 2. That is the way to solve this question. Then another question. Now we are going to another part. Now, I just explained a part of Surds. Now we have another part which is known as rationalization. Rationalization. Now we have this part, rationalization. Rationalization is another part itself. This part is very good. Now, one thing you need to note is when you have a part like this, 1 over root 3, it tells you to rationalize it. What it actually implies is you should not have a root under. You should have a number under. You should never have the root under as the denominator, but you should have a number under. So how do you do this? You are going to multiply by itself. This itself in the numerator and itself in the denominator. So you ask yourself the question, 1 times root 3. 1 times root 3. 1 times any number is that number. So we have 1 times root 3 is root 3. The next part, which I've not told you, is if you have root a times root a, the answer is equal to a. If you have root a times root a, the answer is equal to a. Now we explain using mathematics, using the laws of indices. I use laws of indices. Remember, whenever you have a square root, it is raised to the power of half. Now you are multiplying by another square root. Now when you are multiplying by another square root, like I said, whenever you have multiplication, it becomes addition of powers. So when you add the powers, what was here? 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2. 1 over 2 plus 1 over 2 will give you a raised to power 1. And what's a raised to power 1? A. So meaning that if you have root 3 times root 3, it will give you 3. So in this case, you have root 3 over 3. Whenever you are rationalizing, you rationalize the numerator and the denominator have to be the same in a situation where it's just like this, just root 3. But in a situation where you are now working with other denominators, you now rationalize differently, making one part to be positive and making the other part to be negative. So we'll rationalize another question now. Let's rationalize or simplify another question which we have on the board now. So we have another great question on the board, which is 10 root 2 over root 5. 10 root 2 over root 5. Now, because we have root 5 under, we rationalize easily. Times root 5 times root 5. Now, as you can see, the roots are different. So, to analyze this, see very well, write the number in front already. 10 is 10. The next part, you multiply the numbers inside the roots. And now, what's 2 times 5? The answer is 10. So the answer is 10. Then the next part, you are going to multiply, you are going to check root 5 times root 5. I told you when you have root a times root a, the answer is a. So root 5 times root 5, the answer is what? 5. Now the next part, you are going to simplify. Can 5 cancel 10? Yes, 5 here 1, 5 here 2. So that means our answer will be 2 root 10. 2 root 10. Take note of this point. Very much important point for you. So our answer is 2 root 10. Then we have another question. Let's try out another question. So we have okay. We have the question. Under rationalization. We have 2 root 2 plus 3 root 2 plus 3 root 5 squared minus 2 minus 3 root 5 squared. So to simplify this question, it's not difficult. All you just have to do is write it again. 2 plus 3 root 5. You know, square means multiply by itself. 2 into 2 plus 3 root 5 minus 2 plus 2 minus, this place is minus 2 minus 3 root 5 into 2 minus 3 root 5. Now we're going to open the bracket. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6. But what's here? Root 5. Now the next part, 2 times 3, 6. What's here? Root 5. Now, take note. When we have something like this, 3 root 5 times 3 root 5, what you are going to do is to say 3 times 3, which is 9. But remember, the roots are the same, so it's going to give you times 5. So in this case, where we have 3 root 5 times 3 root 5, 3 times 3 is 9. So we have plus 9. Then root 5 are the same. So you write root 5. Minus, in this a negative sign. So you open a bracket. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times minus 3 minus 6. What you have here is root 5. Minus 6 root 5. 2 times 3 is minus 6. Minus 6 root 5. Then what you have here is minus times minus is going to give you plus. 3 times 3 is 9. 9. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. So from here, we have 4 plus 12 root 5 plus 45 minus 4. Now, let's leave the bracket first. Let's leave the bracket. Let's open the bracket and write 4. 4 plus 9 times 5 is 45. Now, minus 6 is minus 12. Then root 5 will remain there. So, what we now have now, we are going to have 4 plus, okay, so we are going to add 4 plus 45 is 49. Now, plus 12 root 5. 12 root 5. Now, this is 49 already, so it's going to give us minus 49. Minus times minus is plus, so we have 12 root 5. Now, we are going to analyze this together. 49 minus 49 will go. So, what we have left is 12 root 5 plus 12 root 5. And what's 12 root 5 plus 12 root 5? Add the numbers outside, giving us 24 root 5. 24 root 5. That is our final answer. So we have another question on the board. We're going to release another great question again for all of you to follow up immediately. So we have another great question which will be released on the board. Feel free to follow up this question. This is also under rationalization. So we're going to release the question right away. Still under rationalization now. Surds. So this question is a great one. So feel free to follow up the question right away. Okay, so we have the question on the board. Okay. So we have 5 minus 2 root 10 over, we have root 3 root 5 plus root 2. Now, like I said, whenever you have this kind of question, you are going to rationalize. Whenever you are rationalizing, if here is positive, the denominator is positive, then what you are going to multiply by will be negative. So whenever the denominator is positive, it becomes negative. Whenever the denominator is negative, what you are multiplying by will become positive. So take note, you are multiplying both the numerator and the denominator. Take note. So we are going to have times. So maybe because we have the question already, so no need to affect the question. Let's rewrite it. 5 minus 2 root 10 over 3 root 5 plus root 2. So we are going to multiply by, remember this is positive, so it becomes negative 3 root 5 minus root 2 over 3 root 5 minus root 2. So to simplify this, we are going to check. Now let's open a bracket. Let's make it a bracket so it can look good. So we have 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is what? 15. What's here? Root 5. That's the first part. Then the next part, we have 5 times minus root 2. So we have 5 root 2. Minus 5 root 2. 3 times 2, that's minus 6. Then the next part was in the bracket. 5 times 10, which is 50. 5 times 10 is what? 50. The next part was here, minus 2. Minus times minus is plus. But what was here? 2 times 1, 2. The next part was in the bracket. 10. Root 10 is root 2. So root 10 times root 2 is root 20. Over. What we have down now, we are going to write down what we have down. 3 times 3 is 9. Root 2 times root 2 will give us 5. Root 5 times root 5 will give us 5. Then the next part, 3 minus 3. Then what's in the bracket? Root 5 times root 2, which is root 10. Then here what we have is root 3. 3 root 10, because 2 times 5 is 10. Then what we have here is minus, remember, root 2 times root 2 will give you 2. So this will give you 15 root 5. 15 root 5 minus 5 root 2 minus 6. Remember, this 50 here, we can break it down to give us 25 times 2. So plus Now this 20 here, we can break it down to give us 4 times 5. So you know we are working towards a particular direction. So what we have here is 45. Now these two we go plus and minus. Plus 3 minus 3, 0. What we have here is minus 2. Now we're going to break it down. So we have 15 root 2, 15 root 5 minus 5 root 2. Now we have minus 6. What was here? 5. So here 6 times 5 root 2 plus 2 times 2 root 5 over 43. Now what we have now is 15 root 5 minus 5 root 2 minus 30 root 2 plus 4 root 5 over 43. Now the next step, we are going to check very well. Now we have something common. 15 root 5 plus 4 root 5, which is going to give us 19 root 5. Now minus 5 minus 30 minus 35 root 2 over 43. All right, so that's the answer. That's the answer. So we can still separate it to give us 19 over 43 root 5 minus 35 over 43 root 2. And that's our final answer. So it depends on how the question is. Feel free to take a snapshot here. Take a snapshot here. In case you have challenges, you can reach out to me so I can explain as well too. So in case you have any challenge whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me so I can explain further for you. So we move on. We have another part of Surds. So in case you have any challenge in Surds, feel free to ask me right away. We have another question. So for this question, we have 7 over this, okay, 1 minus 1 over 50. Now the 5 is outside the root. So we are going to check this question out now. Now we'll take it step by step. We have 7 over, we have 5 outside. So we are going to find the LCM. And what's the LCM? 50. Now you know 1 is 1 over 1. 1 into 50 is 50. 50 times 1 is 50. 50 minus 50 into 50 is 1. 1 times this, okay, 1. So we now have equal to 7 over 5 root 49 over what? 50. Now if you have this question, the next step is to write 7 over 5 root. Okay, so we are going to now analyze it, break it down. We have 49 over 50. So 50 now will become 25 times 2. Remember that you have to rationalize. You have to make sure that you break a number to the part that has roots, has square root. So we now have 7 over 5 root. So now instead of writing the root, what do you think we'll do? We'll write 7, because 7 will be the numerator, because square root of 49 is 7. Now the next part, what's the square root of 25? 5. What's left there? Root 2. So we have root 2 left. Now, if we now have this, it's going to give us 7 over 35 over 5 root 2. 5 root 2. Now, we are going to, you know, this is 7 divided by 35 over 5 root 2. Division now becomes multiplication. 7 times 5 root 2 over what? 35. 7 here 1, 7 here 5. 5 here 1, 5 here 1. So our answer is root 2. Such a simple question, but all you just had to do, was to simplify easily, but you were just rushing. You did not think of the right way to solve the question. So let's check out another question. One last question in Surds. So Surds is very simple, but the major thing is you have to know how to rationalize. You have to know what you are doing, so you don't make any form of mistake. So we have this question now. We have 2 root 2 minus root 5 over the next one. We have 3 root 2 plus 2 root 5. Now to analyze this, like I said, you are going to multiply. If you have positive, it becomes negative. If you have negative at the denominator, it becomes positive. So make sure you take note of that aspect. So in this part, you multiply by negative because the denominator is positive 3 root 2 minus 2 root 5 over 3 root 2 minus 2 root 5. So to analyze this, we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Root 2 is 2. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. Now the next part, we have 4. Root 2 times root 5 is what? Root 10. Minus 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 5 times 2 is what? 10. Root 10. And here we have minus times minus, which is plus. Now we have 2 in front. 2 times 1, which is 2. Root 5 times root 5, which is 5. Now we divide. 3 times 3, which is 9. Root 2 times root 2 is 2. Minus 3 times 2, which is 6. Root 2 times root 5 is root 10. Now 2 times 3, which is 6. Root 5 times root 2 is root 10. Plus times minus. Minus 2 times 2 is 4. Root 5 times root 5 is what? 5. To analyze this, we now break it down. We check. What was here? 12. 12 plus 10 is what? 12 plus 10 is 22. Minus 4 minus 3 will give us minus 7 root 10. Now we have this 18. You know this will go. Minus 6 plus 6 will go. So you have 18 minus 12. 18 minus 20. What was here is 20 because 4 times 5 is 20. So this is giving us 22 minus 7 root 10 over minus 2. Now if we are having this, we are going to divide to break it down. Minus over minus 2 minus 7 root 10 over minus 2. So this minus, we cancel this minus. What will it become? Plus 2 here 1, 2 here 11. So what we have is minus 11 plus 7 root 10 over 2. Minus 11 plus 7 root 10 over 2. So that is all we can do on that sort. So if you have any question on that sort, feel free to ask me. Feel free to comment in the comment section. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel in case you have any question for me. Do not be confused. If you have any issue whatsoever, feel free to ask me. Thank you so much for being with me.